Hello guys, Tops here, back with Battle Brass. Today I have a special build for you. Today I was experimenting with tanks for the Black Monolith, and I found out that you can make a pretty mediocre Battleforge tank and he will survive the Black Monolith. With even super bad traits like Superstitious and Fear of Green Skins. To be fair, Superstitious is a little bit random. I gave him the Lionheart potion in order, that gives him plus 20 resolve in order to make it work. But, you know, normally this trait introduces bad RNG to the game. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. Normally the strat for Monolith is you run a tank at your left flank, you run this guy up with Lone Wolf, and he tanks the complete northern flank for like multiple turns. Like, while your team is completely crushing the southern flank, the right flank, and then comes to help the tank. The problem is even decent tanks and good tanks die during that process. Most of the time. Even the good ones. Because they are getting surrounded by basically like 20 undead. Played 20 undead, 20 ancient undead, sometimes against the Conqueror as well, the legendary guy with the big cleaver. And as well, you are getting mind control attacked and the poison from the ancient priests. All of that goes against your tanks. So you are basically tankling half the monolith fight. And that's for most tanks, even for good tanks, that's too much. But today I have found a safe way to do it. And today I first tried out the Gilder's Embrace in Black Monolith. And you get this Gilder's Embrace, you can choose that, it's a famed shield. If you did the Sunken Library before, you get a black book. And if you have a level 7 cultist or a level 2 historian, he can read the black book and get mad. If he got mad, there's a second event that triggers. A merchant will come and try to buy the book from you. And then you can choose. I want a shield, I want 50,000 golds, or I want 2 jugs that give a bro an additional perk point. So 2 times 1, you can give a bro 2 additional perks. Or 2 bros, 1 additional perk. So and this shield is just insane. It is technically unbreakable, it's indestructible, gives plus 25 melee and range defense, and everybody who is striking that shield is receiving the dazed status effect. And the dazed status effect basically means the opponents are doing less damage to you, which makes this guy a giga tank. Yeah, right, he needs the shield, and I gave him both parts of the Ejirok armor. Maybe 1 Ejirok armor part would be enough. I just gave him 2 in order to make sure. If you get lucky, 1 part would be enough, because the Ejirok armor is from the Ejirok. Each of the armor pieces regenerates plus 10 hit points per turn. So if you're standing in the poison, I think it does 10 damage per turn, you would completely negate that with the Ejirok armor, because you would regenerate 10 points per turn if you have both 20 points per turn. So this guy is a converted crusader that I got from from an event. And as you guys can see, this guy has 31 melee defense at level 11. Doesn't even have a star. He has 2 bad traits that are against his resolve. This is a pretty bad one. I won't recommend building a tank with this build. Pretty bad idea. So I did level resolve, fatigue, and hit points. So this guy has pretty high hit points with full Battleforge armor and shield, still pretty high fatigue. And he's a little bit low on resolve, and that was my mistake. I should have given him more resolve. So this is a pretty mediocre tank. 31 defense for a tank is not good. Hit points is kinda good, fatigue is okay, resolve is low. So resolve and defense, one of the most primary important stats for this Battleforge tanks, are trash. And he still survived Black Monolith with damaged armor. How did I do that? So I built him with Pathfinder. I gave him Steelbrow, Fortified Mind, 9 lives, Colossus, Shield Expert, Brawny, Lone Wolf, Underdog, Battleforged. So he's a Battleforged tank. These 3 perks are pretty much mandatory. The Lone Wolf skill gives you just a little additional resolve and defense. For this fight, I would recommend that you use a Lionheart potion on him, so he gets plus 10 to resolve for that fight. That makes him more resistant to moral attacks that will proc if he gets hit with the fearsome attacks from the Ancient Undead, or if he is getting surrounded. So having high resolve in this fight is mandatory, and you can boost that with the Lionheart potion. So there are probably other perks you could take. I didn't have Indom on him, and that was kind of my point. I wanted to try this without Indom, and it worked without Indom. And I think this is the game changer. I didn't even have Indom, and as you guys know, if you get surrounded by a lot of opponents, you shield wall turn 1, and then you cannot shield wall anymore. So even the additional defense from the shield wall is not kicking in, and he still survived. He still survived. And he was not really close to dying. That was because I was crushing the other side of the opponents. By the way, I had no big choke point. I had only 1 tile choke point. So I was surrounded on 5 tiles. And all the pikes were hitting me. So I was pretty much surrounded. I got multiple horrified attacks from the Ancient Priest. Got a little bit lucky because of the superstitious trait. Without the superstitious trait, it's not luck-based anymore. Your tank will tank that for a long while. And yeah, went kind of well. So this is kind of a trash Battleforge tank, to be honest. And he still survived Black Monolith because of this gear combination. Rock armor plus the Gilda's Embrace. That's what I can recommend if you want your Battleforge tank to survive the Black Library. This is the gear build that makes it work. Even if you have a trash tank, a tank that you just built because you don't want to waste more time and just finish the game because it's already day 300 and you don't want to level up a new tank that you didn't have to begin with because you thought you didn't need it, and then you know, stuff happened. All right. Shield Mastery is pretty mandatory, I would say. Brawny gives you more stats. You could argue about other perks. By the way, I didn't have Recover on him because I'm not spamming Indom. And yeah, even without Indom, it works. I would assume even with Indom it would be stronger. But it would be really strong if you had an Iron Lungs bro. Because that would mean you could shield wall every turn. With a shield, with this shield it doesn't work. But if you had a shield that has negative fatigue reduction, you could shield wall every turn with Iron Lungs together. And that's the point. If you have a high resolve Battleforge tanks, a high resolve Battleforge tank that has Iron Lungs, you leveled a lot of resolve with Fortified Mind on him. You don't need to use the resolve potion on him. You can give him the second wind potion, so he has more fatigue to work with. He gets +4 fatigue recovery per turn, so you can make sure that he shield walls every turn for more defense. So he's getting hit even less. And yeah, that's just, I have discovered this build by myself. It is crazy, as I tried it out, how effective that gear is on a trash tank that is not like properly built perks wise. Like I don't have Indom and certain other perks is not perfect by far, but it worked. Has a super bad trait, also a good one, but has a super bad trait. Actually 2 bad traits that are negative on resolve is low resolve. So it still works. Even a trash tank with that gear can survive the Black Monolith without being killed. And normally you would sacrifice the tank in this fight in order to get it done. And you can hire the surgeon to make him survive. Yeah, but that's kind of what I wanna tell you. I can show you a different save file. I did this 3 times today. This is the Nimble attempt with a Nimble tank. And the Nimble tank approach was horrible. The Nimble tank, probably I did it wrong. There's probably a way to do it with the Nimble tank. But the Nimble tank died, I think, round 3. He just got destroyed by the Horrified attack and by the by the fearsome procs from the Ancient Undead. I think he was like fleeing in turn 3 and he just got killed or something like that. Even through 9 lives, he just got hit a couple times. I could indom once with shield wall and then he was done. Maybe I built him improperly. Maybe I should have given him resilient. He doesn't have fortified mind, so again his resolve is a little bit low. I gave him the resolve potion though, so it was a little bit higher. Having like really high resolve is mandatory. You want to go to like 80 plus resolve on your BattleForge tank or your Nimble tank with fortified mind together in order to make this fight more reliable for yourself. The Nimble variant didn't work well, although this guy has significantly more defense, significantly higher defense, especially with dodge and relentless. This guy, by the way, this guy didn't have Lone Wolf too. So again, this was a different approach. I want to try without Lone Wolf, but with Indom. Didn't work out as well. With Lone Wolf, these tanks can go to like 120 plus defense. The Nimble Dodge tank, they have way higher defense than the BattleForge tanks, but they have their gear is worse. And they can't wear the EG Rock armor normally, so they cannot regenerate the hit points that they would lose from the poison from the priest attack. So the Nimble attempt did not work out, but I think you can do it with Nimble still. You might give him for the fight just the helmet of the EG Rock in order to regenerate the points and go to lower Nimble numbers, because I think if I just give him gave him the EG Rock armor, he would still have 70%, 73% Nimble. I could give him lighter gear, so it's not great, but therefore he would regenerate 10 hit points per turn. All right, this is the Nimble attempt, and the first attempt that I did. Was where my BattleForge tank died, but barely. And he died barely, and that was the point. I didn't have the EG Rock armor piece on him. And he barely died, but with the EG Rock armor piece, he would have survived. And he basically died slowly to the poison from the priest, and then he got hit a couple times and he couldn't regenerate, and then he died after all. Like even with 115%, 115 hit points and with 9 lives, he sadly died. I tried out the Emperor's Countenance. The damage reflect doesn't work on Ancient Undead, I guess. I just found that out. It's a little bit annoying. Kind of a lore thing. Didn't really know that before. Normally I end my campaign before I have this piece of gear. Never really tried that in Black Monolith. Don't like to fight Goblin City, but that's a different thing. I hate goblins. Also, first attempt with the shield. And I think shield plus EG Rock armor, even with a trash tank, you can easily do the Black Monolith with your tank and he will survive. Guaranteed, so you can do no loss Black Monolith. Fairly easy, fairly safe, with less of really, really low RNG. And yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. By the way, if you have any recommendations or you build your tanks differently, but this is the combo that I found worked the best. The Gilda's Embrace and the EG Rock armor in combination with Lone Wolf, even without Indom. Alright, guys, leave me please in the comments how you build your tanks for Black Monolith. How do you do it, or if you're gonna try that out, and tell me yourself how you go with it. And yeah, I was a little bit rambling here. Sorry, guys. I hope you can still understand what I mean. By the way, guys, I stream almost every day. So if you want to watch me play this live, play the Black Monolith live, and play this campaign, by the way, we are done after the Black Monolith. And we will start a new run soon. So if you want to be with me in the live streams, go check it out. I'm going to see you there. Leave me a comment, like and subscribe. I will see you in the comments. And have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.